And that's exactly what suppression is. You won't know, and you'll have no idea what actually comes up.
No, that's it. So yeah, well, it'll be interesting. So yes, my plan is to get there this year.
All right, darling. Excellent. Remember, there's 6-month payment plans. So if you need it to be broken down into some things, the 6-month payment plans. And this year we're not sure. So we had a few issues with just some situations that we might be making some changes in the business, just to meaning like what we've done is we've always allowed people to do 6-month payment plans even if they sign for the retreat a month early, right, a month before. And so really they get to the retreat, they've paid like a few $100 and we're out of pocket and we get the money later. But so we probably are not going to do that anymore. Probably just
that's fair enough.
Closer we get, we'll just take bigger deposits so that everything's always paid off before we get there. So if you feel like you do want the whole 6 months to pay it, well, it'll be April that you'd have to make a decision by in the next couple of weeks, just because it's in October.
Yep. No, perfect.
Amazing.
I'll make a decision.
Well, I look forward to journeying with you then.
Thank you.
And I reckon we'll get to your question. If we don't, it's fine. Come back next week and we can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that you're asking those kind of questions. Just thinking on that line is going to change your whole world.
And because when I thought about it, I was like, I feel like it's not a parenting question. And that's what made me go, I think the retreat is the place to find the answer, or in that kind of space, not necessarily, because I know the children mirror me when I'm, then that's what they give me right back in my face. And so I need to learn how to, even if I'm trying to fool myself that I'm calm, they see right through me. So
and they feel you. And what it does on a deeper level is it teaches them not to trust their intuition. So this is where it kind of gets almost dangerous, right? If you want to raise a conscious child, because when what they feel from you is different from what they see or hear from you.
Yeah, right.
It basically teaches them to override what they feel and to trust what they see and they hear. Oh no, mummy's fine. And they're like, but you don't feel fine. But I trust you so much that you're telling me you're fine. So if I don't feel like you're fine, but you're telling me you are, then I must have it wrong. And they literally turn off to their intuition. And then later on in life, where that becomes dangerous is when they get into a car at a party, where they take a drug, where they're just not tapped in to their intuition, where they don't, go off with some guy or some girl that isn't going to be good for them or whatever it might be. Like they just have learned by then they can't even identify that feeling in their body anymore. So it is a big deal. And I love that you are willing to put your hand up and do the deep work on that yourself, because and that is you doing that deep work is where you break generational cycles. That's the only place you do it. Awesome. I mean, tools and stuff help us get there. If you want to do something like now, like if you feel like you're so ready to go deep on yourself and you don't want to wait 6 months, you would definitely be ready for the soul parenting program. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's another program that I have. It's $1,000. You can do that in a payment plan too. It's a very deep program. It will open you up and make you a bit raw. Like, I mean, the group and the community is amazing. So you can always post in there and, you get a lot of support. There's a lot of homework in there. There's a lot of doing some deep processes. You've got to feel like I'm ready to face it. I'm ready to own it. And that can, that can also prepare you to get more out of the retreat.
Yeah, true. All right, I'll have a look into it. But thank you very much.
Reach out if you need a conversation or something, okay?
All right, thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Yes, Elle, you have done it all. Absolutely. And you have been transformed, darling. Shelley, welcome and hello. I'm going to come to you first because even though your question wasn't first, new people always go first. So we just kind of throw you in the deep end and get you all used to it. I would love to have let me unmute you. Can you unmute your line? Cool.
Is that right?
Yeah, cool. Great to meet you, like face to face,
Yes.
For those of you are friends with Cassie Healy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. She's here a lot of the time and she's referred a few people. So I firstly want to welcome you and
Okay.
really just open a little bit of conversation between us. So you'll
Okay.
find here in this group, and if you've been led to this program in this group and it's resonated for you and it's felt right, which is obviously why you're here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even know what you're in for, or you don't really know how ready you are.
Yeah.
But you can't be led to something that resonates that you're not ready for, right?
Mm.
And so, we have really deep, open, transparent conversations here. And within 2 weeks, you'll feel so safe, so connected, so
Yeah.
supported, by the entire community here. But I'm going to let's touch on your question. So you
Mhm.
said anger outbursts mainly due to a child. Can I just ask you a question just on this?
Yeah.
Have you watched my webinar? Is that something you've seen from me, or have you watched anything from me before? Is that where this question comes from?
No, it's what my son does when he reacts to something
Okay.
that's happened. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so you said anger outbursts mainly due to a child's love language not being filled, or does it, or does diet play a role? And
Yeah.
how to tackle a child that finds it hard to switch off at night, right? And can take
Yeah.
1.5 hours to go to sleep. Yeah, cool. All right, so first of all, let's do the anger. So it can be, but it's not only love languages. So, first of
Yeah.
all, knowing their love languages helps immensely. If you know it, it'll help immensely to shift the situation, particularly energetically. Like you'll just stop feeding those outbursts, right? However, knowing a child's authentic love language, which is, I'll explain it to you in a second, can take some people in this group, it's taken years, because let me explain why. How old is your son, by the way?
He's 8.
He's 8. Okay. And does he have is he neurodivergent at all? Does he have like any diagnosis, any ASD or ADHD or anything like that? Or he just gets
We're,
the
we're, we're just going down that road at the moment. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe ADHD, but I'm not 100% sure.
So here's what I'll say, and I've said this in the group, and many people here who have children that are diagnosed fully agree and support the deeper they go.
Yeah.
They agree with this, that 99, look, my personal belief is that ADHD is basically all diet related, right? I have a daughter that has ADHD symptoms as well. And
Yeah.
diet and gut related. So the shitty thing is, even the parents are like, I know it's diet related, but when a
Yeah.
child has a leaky gut and they become fussy eaters and all these other things, there is only so much you can do diet related anyway. Do you know what I mean? So don't be down on
Yeah.
yourself and hard on yourself about that. But
Mhm.
ADHD, I feel like it's almost like a name that they gave to something that they couldn't actually pinpoint. So they
Yeah.
wrapped it all in this one big box and called it ADHD, and it's got so many different layers to it and things to it, and it is so diet related.
Yeah.
And I know that from personal experience as well. All right, like if
Yeah.
and when you can clean up their diets and get
Mm.
their gut health in good way and detox them of heavy. Can I ask you a question? And there's no judgment, there's no opinions on this. Like it's fine. Are your kids vaccinated?
He is, yes. My daughter isn't.
Okay, cool. So heavy metals is,
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard of TRS spray?
No.
Okay, I would highly suggest. So I don't sell it, but I can connect you with someone who does. And there's so many people in this group that are using it and for themselves. But it's
Mhm.
basically just a spray that you put under your tongue. Tastes like water, by the way. But it's got these absolute like minuscule molecules in them called zeolites that basically it's like literally like one. I can't explain this to the nth degree, right? But I can give you someone who'll tag you in a post in her group and it's got everything you might possibly need. But basically, the zeolites are the only thing that can cross the blood-brain barrier. And what else they do is that when they attach to a heavy metal, they are encapsulated with something, and I can't remember the name, it's a big long name, but they're encapsulated so that once they bind to a heavy metal, that heavy metal can't fall off it on its way through the body before it gets transported out. So it stays attached and it transports it out of the body. Does that make sense? Like that's the general understanding of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just something that's easy to do. And, I find with, pretty much anyone that I've ever gotten feedback from that it makes a difference fairly quickly, but it's also very long term as well. Right. And we've used it. My stepson has, he's just been diagnosed with autism, and he has, such bad bowel problems and things like that, and gut problems. It's been a challenge, and he has a lot of takeaway and stuff like that at his mum's, so there's only so much that we can do to try to heal him in that way. So we've over the space of about 18 months of putting him on this spray, and my partner just sprays it in his water bottle, so he didn't even know he's taking it to begin with, right? And now he's right. But he, over the space of 18 months, he has absolutely reversed, we believe, and at our house at least, like 92 out of 100 symptoms that he would have ticked the autism boxes at our house, he doesn't display them. He displays them behaviorally over at his mum's house, for example, like just won't shower himself, won't dress himself, but it's a bit of a laundry related type thing. Whereas here, he doesn't even question it, gets in himself, does it all himself, and gets out himself, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we absolutely attribute a lot to it, a lot of it to the TRS spray. And not only that, but back then he only ate 6 foods, like banana, grapes, stuff like this. Like there were 6 things he eats. Over this time, he's now up to 51 foods that he eats. He won't eat all 51. We can't just go, oh, you're going to eat this today. Like this week, he's not eating bananas, but he's eating apples. Next week, you'll eat that many bananas, he almost turn into a monkey, but he won't eat apples. You know what I mean? But on there, there's 51 foods that he eats now. So it's really, helping to repair. And that's with him being 50% somewhere else where he doesn't get access to the same, nutrition. So anyway, I highly vouch for that. So reach out to me privately, just because I'll put you in a private message with the lady that I can connect you with, and get the info if you're interested. It's just something you can do that feels like something you can do, like that can actually help long term, not just manage the behavior, but actually change what's creating his anger outburst in the first place. Yeah.
Thank you.
But let's go into the anger outburst thing, and I want to quickly explain to you the love language. So obviously you'll be learning it in the program in the first pillar. And there's what I call the authentic love language and the adaptive love language. The authentic love language is what our child's love language truly is at the core of their soul. When those love needs, without us knowing any better, aren't met because we had no idea, or we thought their love language was X, but without realizing it was Y or whatever it might be, when their love needs aren't met the way they need them, what children do is they need love so badly as a matter of their survival that it's like they say, okay, I can't get love the way that I need it, because every time I ask you for an act of service, and I ask you to tie my shoes for me, and to get me dressed, and to get me dried, and to make my breakfast for me, you say, no, come on, you're a big boy now, you're 8, you can do that yourself, with intentions to raise an independent, healthy child, right? But sometimes we don't realize that what they were asking for, and this is just an example, was an act of service. And so their love language, unbeknowingly, is shut down. So the child goes, okay, every time I ask you to meet the need I've got, you don't respond. But what they do is they work out, subconsciously, they work out what your love language is. They basically work out what you respond to. So they're like, well, you don't really respond when I ask you to do something for me, but whenever I come and sit on your lap, or I give you a cuddle, or I play with your hair, like I feel a connection from you. Like I feel like you like that, because they kind of work out that you like touch, for example. So what they do is they adapt themselves, they change themselves, and they start asking for love, not how they really need it, but however they know they can get it. So they start presenting on the outside like they're a touch love language. And I have a lot of parents come to this program, particularly with touch and quality time, where they'll be like, oh, my child is definitely touch, like he has to be all over me, and he's always got to be on top of me, and this kind of thing. But sometimes I'll be like, listen, I want you to be open to the fact that that's probably not, because if that was his love language, he'd be responding to X, Y, Z. And because he's not responding, I want you to be open. So just know that as you look into love languages, that what you're seeing him present with, and the older they are, the longer they've been in that adaptation mode. So they kind of get in habits of asking for it that way, which is why when you give them everything they want, they're looking for love in that way, no matter how much you give them, like it never fills them up, like it's never enough, right? And that's a big sign that even though they're asking for that, it's probably not their authentic love language because it doesn't fill them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just have an open mind, even whether you think you're on point with it or not, have an open mind and just look out for all the things you'll learn. So the signs of the love language, how to unlove your child, and also the I'm sorry language. They're like the big keys to working it out and to like going, oh, I think his love language is this. Let me now look out for his I'm sorry language and see if that matches up.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's also a little bit of one of the biggest reasons for anger outbursts. And we're talking neurotypical children here, because if you have a neurodivergent child, it can be like an exception to the rule, right? But the other reason is, the main reason is powerlessness. So it's all about being able to use language. So if you feel like you need to kind of knock this on the head pretty quickly, I'm going to suggest two things to you. What I want you to do is, have you started watching any of the videos in the program yet?
No.
Okay. Have you in that welcome email? There's like a login that says like click here to log into the portal.
Yeah, I think so. I think I did click in, but I haven't actually looked at them because I went straight to the book.
Did you? Oh yeah, cool. Did you print out the book?
Yeah.
The big
yeah.
Oh, that's the program, because you would have got that book. You would have had to go into the program, and that book is under the welcome video, right? Is that where you got it from?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the program. So you start going through all those videos, and the first section is just kind of what about me. You can even skip that now that you've got the book. And then so that book works best. It's made to go with the videos. That book won't make a whole lot of sense, and you'll misinterpret a lot of things if you haven't got the explanation of the video behind it. But does that make sense? It's kind of like what I've got on the screen on the slides is then so definitely go with videos and follow the book with the videos.
Gotcha.
So, because there's definitely not a big explanation in the book of this, but there's a big video on it, or a deep video on it. It's not very long, but it's big, and it's in the first pillar, and it talks about praise, like the 3 types of praise, and like how to give effective praise. That is going to be a key. You learning how to use those words with him is going to be massive. And then if you wanted to like fast forward and just watch a short video and then come back to where you're up to and watch the program in order, in the third pillar, it's all to do with like language you use with your child, and it's called like pick, choose, decide. I'm trying to remember, like I haven't even looked at the titles of these videos probably since I made them, but it talks about pick, choose, decide, and I think I've definitely it's in the third pillar, and it's pick, choose, decide. That language you need to use with him to make him got more power, because he uses anger to take power, and the child that needs access to power and wants to take it from wherever they can is a child that's feeling powerless, right? So in your language, you just want to include the word pick, choose, and decide, mix them up in any way it makes sense at any given moment, as often as you can, including moments that like are irrelevant. So for example, give him as many choices as you can. Let's say in the morning you're making his breakfast. Just say to him, which spoon do you want? Is this one or it doesn't matter if they're both freaking silver. They're both the same spoon. Which spoon do you want? The blue or the, like, it doesn't even matter. He probably doesn't even care. But anytime you can give him a choice, or he might say, Mum, can I do this? You know, can I go outside? And you might have a rule. You might be like, instead of saying like, not until you've got your shoes on, go, sure you can. As soon as you've got your shoes on, you can. You choose. If your shoes on, it's up to you. You get to choose whether or not you go outside by whether or not you choose to put your shoes on. Whatever it is. So you're using the word choose when you make choices like that. So instead of like, you know, why did you do that? And stop yelling and stop this. Hey, when you choose to speak like that, you are choosing for me not to listen, because I refuse to listen to somebody who's speaking to me like that. So when you're ready to make better choices and speak to me in a better tone, I will absolutely hear what you've got to say. But while you're making choices like this, I am unavailable to you right now. So just always referring, when you choose to hurt your sister, you're choosing to be taken away from this room or whatever. So always refer to the choices he's making, and what his decisions are, because for as long as we've got choice, we've got power. And if you can just remind him that he has access to his own power through all the choices he makes, and you start like really using that kind of language all the time, it'll start to make him feel like he's got something in what I call his power bucket. And then he need to be angry at everyone in order to try to fill his power bucket.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. But the praise stuff and the so watch the love language stuff, because that comes first. But don't get stuck on it. Like watch the love language stuff so that you know what to look out for in the behaviors of your child over the next, let's say, 3 months, right? But don't wait on those videos until you work out his love language. Know what to look out for. You'll get a few ideas of what to start to piece together. If you're not sure, bring it to the call, but keep going through the videos while you're watching out for signs of their love language.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Thank you.
So welcome. All right. Miss Amanda. These bloody mean girls, hey? Girls are, yes. I hear you. What'd you say? I'm just reminding myself. So, okay, I love, and I love this about Charlotte. She's very strong in her sense of self. And, I love that she's telling her friends that, they can't do what they're doing, and she gets up and moves away from them when they're talking about everybody. My question was, I love how you said, like, I'm trying not to go to the school and encouraging her to speak with teachers, because that's an excellent thing to, at least let our children initiate their own, solving their own problems. What happened there? Does she talk to the teacher, or is she not willing to talk to the teacher?
She doesn't really want to. She sort of said it feels a bit awkward to go to the teacher with something like that.
Okay.
But she did suggest maybe she would write him an email or something.
Yeah.
The emails between each other.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would do that. I would say to the teacher, I absolutely would do that, because I feel like, and tell me if you feel like this, if the teacher was to approach Charlotte, I feel like once she got into a conversation, she'd be okay to explain it and tell it. It's just more the approaching that she's struggling with. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had to do it last year. I sort of went in with her and I said, hey, I'm just going to open a conversation here. Charlotte has an issue and she'd like to talk to you about it. And she went on and did it. So
perfect. And that I'll do exactly that again, whether it's going in or going by email. But you can also tell Charlotte you're going to do that. You say, hey, Charlotte, like you can do this one of two ways. You can just make a decision you're going to do it, or you can wait till she comes to you with one more complaint and say, listen, you've complained about this a few times, okay? And now I feel like it is absolutely my responsibility now to do something about this, because it's going on too long and it's literally affecting how you feel at school, and that's not okay with me, okay? So I'm letting you know I am going to contact, I'm not going to tell her the whole story. All I'm going to do is tell your teacher something is going on, and I'm going to ask her to have a chat with you in a private situation where no one knows about it or whatever at some point, so that you can explain it to her. I'm going to open the door, and then it's up to you to walk through that door.
Yep.
Do you reckon she'd be all right with that? She wouldn't have, I don't think she'd really have a problem with that, especially if you're like, this is what I'm going to do. So you have a choice now. Either you go talk to your teacher, or I am going to. And we'll do it the right way. You're not going to be embarrassed in front of your friends. You're not going to be, no one's going to know you've dobbed-on them or something like that. It's going to be done in a very, like a very discreet kind of way, if that's what she needs, and that's okay. Because I feel like, because she has tried so many things, and it's like none of it's working, it absolutely needs an authority, because the reason all the things that she's saying doesn't make sense to her friends is no one thinks like her. No children are raised like you raise your children. And Charlotte's suggestions, or not gossiping about other people, they're probably foreign thoughts to the average child, right? And so they don't even hear it. Like, it doesn't resonate with them at all. It doesn't like, it's like if I was to call you forwards, if you're my friend and I call you out and I'm like, hey, why do you just need to be so negative on people all the time? If you're a conscious person, that like triggers you. You're like, oh fuck, I hate that I've been seen like that, right? And you're like, shit, like what, you have your own reaction to it. But you'll probably change because what I said in calling you forwards had a resonance for you. But if that has no resonance to you at all, because you don't think it's a problem to be mean to people, and in fact, it's the fuel you use to make yourself feel good about yourself, then that child's subconscious mind is like, okay, but the only way I feel good enough about myself is by pointing out everyone else's mishaps or misfortunes or what's wrong with them. And so it's a cute idea you've got for me not to do this, but then how else do I feel good about myself? It's a subconscious thing, right? Obviously, they don't say these words.
Absolutely.
So because of that, it needs an authority. And I'd suggest to go to the teacher first and let them deal with it. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, these are her friends. So she wants to be friends with them. She likes them when they're good. It's just that they've got this side to them that she hates. Is that right?
This was like one of her best friends last year. But over the years, she really started to realise that she wasn't such a good friend. And now they've changed classes and she's stuck with this person, but it's just this person and another one who's even more toxic.
Okay.
And so she's sort of like, I don't have anyone else, so I tolerate them. But it's just getting worse and worse, and she doesn't want to go to school now because she's like, I hate it. They are horrible to to other people, and like the things they're saying, she's like, I don't want to be a part of it.
Okay.
And she said, it doesn't matter because I'll move desks and try and sit by myself, and they'll just follow me.
Okay. Yeah, that's hard. And like, can she move an entire friendship group? Are there other people that she could make friends with? Have you discussed that option with her?
Pardon?
Oh, are there other people that okay. Are there other people that she can be friends with? Like, have you discussed with her looking for new friends?
We have. So she's got two other friends that are really good friends, but they're in a whole different class this year.
Okay.
And so she's really struggling because she's like, these are the ones, and they're like, they sort of have their groups, and these are the ones in her groups just for her projects and stuff like that. Like the teacher keeps putting them into the group.
Ah,
So like,
yeah, you definitely got to go to the teacher.
Them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy for the teacher to break up that dynamic.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it would. And as soon as if class time can be a little bit of a separation time for Charlotte, she can probably handle them at recess and lunch only. But it's when it's just constant, if you're next to me, you follow me, you play with me, you're in class with me, and you're not really my person. I just feel like I have to be your friend because we're in this class together. That's a whole different thing. So if the teacher can, you can even say that in your email, can you please approach Charlotte and find out the detail? And I really would like you to support her in voicing what she's saying. But also, I also feel like, if you're aware of this, can you please do your best to keep Charlotte separate and to not make it look like she's chosen to be separate. So the teacher could, go, right, everyone's moving tables, you're sitting there, bad luck, that's where you're sitting. And so it's like Charlotte never got a choice to sit over there and those girls over there. It wasn't her choosing. The teacher said, no, bad luck, you're not in each other's groups, or you're not allowed to sit at that table, or actually, can you please change to that group? And no one really knows that the teacher's even been spoken to, but it shifts the dynamics.
Yeah, I said to her the other day, this morning actually, I said to her, why don't you go to your teacher and just say, look, if you can see that they're being disruptive, even if you have to call me out and make it look like I'm in trouble, leave me. I was like, if you went to him and sort of said that, then maybe he would, move you and you could get on with your work. I don't know. I don't think she did. But,
yeah, it's great.
We talk about writing him an email.
It's a great suggestion. Yeah, I'd definitely get the teacher involved. I don't feel like it's a big friendship issue. And I'm guessing you've probably already had conversations around her. Hey, we can't change how people are going to be. What we can do is have boundaries, and like what you're already doing, you can say, I don't agree with this. I don't like this. You can give them feedback. You can move yourself away. There's only so much you can do. And beyond that, we move into acceptance. It is what it is. I'm in this class. I can either focus on the fact that I hate this and I can't do anything to change it and I feel powerless, or I can choose to limit my access to these people, meaning I just don't let them get to me. It is what it is. And instead of wanting them to change, I grow in myself to be able to handle it. And I just block it out in my head. I just like, when you say it, I like, put up a little guard in my head or whatever. And I don't take it on, because this happens in life, right? You have to deal with other colleagues, other employees, and you're like, fuck, I hate this bitch that works in my office. Like, she's bloody, I feel drained by lunchtime.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's the exact conversation we had.
Oh,
that's the exact conversation we had this morning, was basically that we can't control what other people do, and that all you can do is control your response to it. I said, you don't have to give them access. You can just sit there and, ignore them if that's what you want to do. And I said, you are going to come across people. The universe is going to send you these lessons where you do need to put in your boundaries and learn how to deal with people that might be the wrong way. And the fact that it's showing up in many areas of their life.
Yeah.
This is just
amazing.
time for you to really sit in those boundaries.
So that's perfect. Yeah, I have no feedback for you. It's literally perfect.
That's right. I just didn't know if I was missing something, because she's getting so down with all this meanness around her.
Yeah.
I think you're just being called to rise, but I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing something.
No, I think it just needs authority on it. It just needs to teach on it, because I feel like she's not saying she doesn't want to have anything to do with these girls. She just doesn't want to be in the environment where she has to deal with them all the time. If she can be separated and have her own energy field over there in the classroom and be told, like, I feel like she just energetically gets a break from it. And then at recess and lunch, she can play with the friends from the other class. They can all play together or whatever they do, and she can run away from it and ignore it and all that. But when it's right beside you and you can't change it, she just needs to use her voice. But I think you should just step in and put some authority on that. And I wouldn't be afraid. The only other thing I feel to tell you is not to be afraid to potentially request her changing class, or say to the teacher, even put that in writing, so that next term, if this is still continuing, you can refer to the fact that you've already raised this because it's in writing. Just say, look, I just, this is a real big thing, or blah, blah, blah. Can you please deal with it? And, just say, like, if something like this continues and it really distracts her ability to stay focused and to enjoy being at school, I'm going to go down the path of asking her class to be changed, because it's just not healthy for her. But for now, I would love for you to just see what you can do to deal with it. So if you've at least mentioned it later on, when you're like, I'm done with this is bullshit, and it's really getting your self-esteem down, or, whatever, you can, it's the second time it's raised. And so the school has to do more about it, because you've already mentioned, if this doesn't stop, I'm going to be asking for her to change classes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Plant a seed on that, babe.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. That's reassuring.
All right. So, Miss Marlon, coming to you, darling. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello. Oh yes, this three-way friendship issue that goes on at your property. So for those of you watching the replay, Marlon lives on an amazing property with other families. And so there's like a little community type thing there. And so Marlon has two children, and then there's this one other girl, and this girl is like the third wheel between your children often. Right? And there's like, you know, one of your kids is friends with her and the other one feels left out, and then this child's friends with her, now this child feels left out. By the way, I just want to say, Tom is just so beautiful. I just love how he's like, the feeling of like, I feel like I've lost my sister. Like, that's so deep, like he loves his sister, right?
Yeah, I think, and through their journey, being a bit different to other children, whatever, they are really close, and they love each other very much. And, so I think they've spent so much time with each other, especially through our journey with mold and everything. They were really, close, as much as they had their, moments and everything. But I think it's really tricky for either of them to not be part of that group.
I get it. Yeah, I really do. But the answer is exactly what you said, 100%, because this is like a perpetual problem, right? And so perpetual problems absolutely like really need to be discussed, and a conscious conversation to help them out, and to encourage them to like when I say sort it out themselves, I mean like to truly have consideration for each other. So a good way to do it, we do this at the relationship retreat, right? And so you get a page and you draw a big circle out here, and then you draw like a little circle in the middle. And in the outer circle, you put all of the things that, you are willing to compromise on, or things that you'd like your way, but you're kind of open to it. Like they don't mean the world to you. And in the inner circle, it's like your inner being. It's like the core of who you are. And in there, it's like, these are the things I cannot change, because if you ask me to change these things, you're asking me to give up the bones of my body, basically. You're asking me to not be who I am in my core. And so, essentially you're like, okay, these things essentially, and when you share them with each other, and people can understand like how he feels, like if Ruby can understand, like, Ruby, when you don't play with me, I don't just feel like you don't want to play with me. In that moment, I feel like I'm losing my sister. You can help them discuss this. Tom, it doesn't mean you're not, it doesn't mean he is losing you, but he experiences that as though he's losing his sister. And what he's saying here is his connection with you means so much to him that it hurts when he feels that. And then what Ruby's saying, Tom, is at her core, in these moments, she feels like she needs and wants to have freedom to have friends that are just hers, or that are outside the family or whatever. And so she feels like, and it's not what you're meaning to do, you're not meaning to take her freedom, but how she feels is that she feels trapped because she needs to keep everyone happy. And then if she does something to keep herself happy, that's going to hurt her brother. And that's hard for her too, because she cares. So, how can we both get what we want? And, I think it would be good for you to make some, like, ask them for their suggestions and for you to make your own suggestions. Like, I don't know, it's hard. Does this other girl, if you as a parent are observing them, does she naturally have, this other girl have a better relationship with one of your kids than the other? Like, does she have a natural, because of the age or anything like that, or the interest?
Well, it's kind of shifted a bit because it was Tom, but I think Ruby and her have connected over a couple of, like the Zombie and the what's it called, Monster High, and they both like to act and sing, and so they're on the trampoline with their music and they're doing all the musical theater things. And so she's, her tendency now is to go to Ruby, but she's like, when she comes to the door, she always says, can Tom and Ruby come out? So she's not generally,
she's not choosing them, it's just more between them.
Yeah, I think she prefers probably at the moment to hang out with Ruby, and before it was the other way around. So now, one of the things that I feel like I need to talk to Tom about is, that he just, in those moments, he just hates her so much that he gets really mean.
Yep.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yes. So my question is this, and I feel like this is the really unpacking what the problem is there, first of all, the question is there a way, without anyone betraying themselves, is there a way that we possibly all could play together? For example, Ruby and this other little girl are doing their acting or whatever on the trampoline. Like, could Tom watch? Could he be the audience, or could he be the judge, and they have to come out with a package and he can be the judge or something? Like, is there a way that could happen? And if not,
they often do that.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
And
they often do that.
Okay.
They try to involve Tom, but when they sing and act and things like that, it makes him feel a bit uncomfortable. And he's like, can you just not do that? And they're like, well, we enjoy doing that.
Okay.
So then eventually he leaves, because he's like, makes him feel like.
So this is a good thing then. So this is really good. What you focus on with Tom then is, hey, so, and even share with him like how, the relationships change, dynamics. Recently she was more friends with you, and at the moment she's more connected to Ruby, and that doesn't mean that anyone doesn't like you. That's just the interpretation that you might give it sometimes. And so if you are saying, I want to play with you guys so much that I, can I have a role in this somewhere? Then you have to understand that if you are asking to play their game, that you have to be willing to play at the level that they ask you to, And if you don't want to, that's always okay. You never have to. And it doesn't mean you can't raise your own idea and have a compromise or something like that. But ultimately, it's your choice to not play that. So when you choose to say, oh, can you not do that? And they want to do that because that's actually the game they're playing. That when you then go away, that's not them not wanting to play with you. That's you choosing to not want to play with them. You're making the choice that you are the one that doesn't want to play that game. And in this moment, that happens to be what they're playing. So the deal is you play in this game and you don't have to, but if you choose not to, that doesn't mean you weren't included. It means you chose to not play the game.
Yeah. And then, you know, when he comes, like when he walks away or he comes back, then he starts rolling the stories in his head about how if she wasn't there, he could play with his sister and this wouldn't be happening. And, you know, it's that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So in that regard, you say, yes, you're right. So just like give him a yes so that his brain doesn't the block. Yes, you're right, Tom. That's probably very true. If she wasn't here, Ruby wouldn't be playing with her. But the point is, she is here and they are playing. So but the deal is, the reality is, you're right. Yes, you're right. But she is here and they are playing. And the only situation that we can ever, manage or control or have our own choices in is a reality situation. And all stress, all, probably for a child, you can say sadness, your sadness, the feeling of rejection that you might have right now is coming from a place of you not, because all stress comes from a place of not accepting reality. As soon as something's happening and we say, this shouldn't be happening, I don't like that this is happening, we create stress for ourselves, right? That's the only place stress really comes from. So if you can help him learn that on his level, that, okay, so wait, what was I going to say there? Wait, let me go back a bit. When he comes over to you with the stories of she wouldn't be here and all those kind of things. I would encourage you to say, to bring in something like some kind of family conversation you guys have had of, you know what, you're right, but you know what? She doesn't play with this girl all the time. And remember, in our family, what we're all practicing is encouraging each other to have our own lives and our own sense of self outside of each other. For example, your dad doesn't come to the parenting calls every week. Your dad doesn't come to my yoga sessions that I do. He doesn't come to the retreats that I do. That doesn't mean that dad doesn't love me or that his dad doesn't want to hang out with me. That means outside of the things that your dad likes to do, I'm my own person and I can do my own things. And I don't do X, Y, Z that your dad likes to do, for example, because he's his own person. And so there are moments where you and Ruby are together and you have the most beautiful connected bond and the most amazing brother-sister relationship. But your relationship, your love is so deep that it can handle and it will handle each of you being your own person. So what we can learn here is, how do we support Ruby in having a friend? How can we support Tom when he's got the friend? So that when he comes back with a story, or if ever this flips around and Ruby feels left out, I think last time we did have this conversation, it was Ruby was feeling left out.
It was.
And it's okay, because if they're relating their experience to their connection to each other, then you can help them align with that connection by supporting each other. Hey, Tom, I totally get what you're saying. And I can see that right now, part of you wishes that friend wasn't here so that you could have Ruby all to yourself. Okay. But right now, what we need to do as a family is celebrate Ruby for having a friendship that isn't within one of us right in this moment. And so how you can show up as, a supportive brother, like she can show up, and I would remind her to do, if ever you had your own moment or something like that with a friend, is to go, you know what, the best thing I can do if I really do love my sister and I'm connecting with that love I feel for her, is to allow her to have a relationship that's outside of me, and I can encourage her in that. And then when she returns, our relationship is still solid and it's still the same.
Yeah, that's really good, because sometimes they play together inside and it's they're having a super duper time, and then Sarah comes home from school and one of them is off, and then the other one's you know, like, oh, but we were just playing, and now I'm bored, and it's her fault.
Right.
You know, that's
Cool.
that's sort of where he gets
Yep.
stuck, and he's like, and then it's like, oh, you know, I wish I wouldn't live here, and this is all, you know, because of her. I've been having a great time with my sister, and now it's over.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so they're blaming they're like deflecting and blaming their own experience and their feelings
Yeah.
on. I'm only feeling this because someone else made
Because
a
of you.
choice that I can't control. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an amazing conversation to open up and like weave and embed it all through your lives for the next 3 months. Like don't need an immediate, you know, shift on this.
Yeah.
But just, you know, talk about, hey, as a family, let's focus on, like, you can even draw like a pie chart or something if they like doing these things, or get the kids to do it, where, you know, what makes a healthy, balanced family is we have our family connection time where we're all together, we do things, you know, we do bonfires or whatever it is that you guys do. Then it's important within all of us that, as well as having our family identity, that we have our own individual identity, and that within that, each of us are encouraged and we praise each other and we support each other in having friendships that are outside of our family, and relationships like, I've got the women's group, I've got the, you know, the parenting group, dad's got his workmates or whatever it might be, right? That's what makes it healthy. And then there's another part to this pie, which is where each of us individually on our own learn how to be okay with being on our own and how to have a relationship with ourselves. So there's the relationship we have with our family, the relationships we have outside of our family that belong just to us. And for example, you and Ruby, Tom and Ruby might both have a relationship with Seren, but they've got very different relationships with Seren. Like, Ruby's relationship is a very different kind of relationship to Tom's relationship with Seren, right? So what Ruby gets from Seren is very unique and it belongs to her. And what Tom has with Seren belongs to him. And Ruby doesn't try to have what Tom has, and Tom doesn't try to have what Ruby has. Like, everyone has their own relationships outside of the family. And then, so there's family outside of the family, and there's relationship with ourselves, like relationship with ourselves. They're the 3 parts of like a healthy attachment style, a healthy security. That's what gives us security.
Yeah.
So
that's great, that last one.
Yeah, and any one moment, like, we are called into one of those pieces of the pie. And you might even, you know, with your kids' brains, I know that, like, Ruby's really good with her art, isn't she? Is it Ruby that loves the paint?
Yeah.
Get her to make something that's like, and you could even call it, you know, the family area where we're all connected, that's the red zone. And then the, you know, individual identities outside of our family is the green zone. And the relationship with self, each of us individually on our own as individuals, is the blue zone. So that then I can color them in those colors, so that then you can say, okay, Tom, so what I'm hearing right now is you're feeling like, you know, what zone do you need to focus on right now? So Ruby has said that she wants to hang out in the green zone right now. So she's over there having her identity and her relationships that are outside of our family, right? And right now, as a family, we're not all catching up either. So right now, Ruby is wanting to lean into her green zone. What zone do you think can help you right now? What zone are you being called to? And it's probably going to be the blue zone, like into self-connection, into doing something so you can just come up with colors or words or something that you can just put in your sentences to make it easy to get them to relate to, and then talk about that, and talk about, for example, like, what I mean by sense of self and relationship to self and relationships outside of our family. Like, I want to raise my children a certain way, to believe certain things and to think a certain way and all those things, and that gives us our family connection and our core values. But I also want my children, and you can give them this example, I also want my children to have their own thoughts that are different from mine, to even argue with some of my opinions because they don't have the same opinion. I never, ever want you to give up your sense of self just to fit into the family, just to believe what the family's believing. You're more than welcome to have a very different idea, right? And as a family, we learn to support that individual identity that is outside of our family, whether it's the same kind of thing as our family or not. Like, I want to encourage you guys for that.
Yeah, and that's what Tom struggles with. You know, he just hates being by himself.
Yeah.
So it's always like either, you know, we tag along, or someone has to be close by, or or it's Ruby. And then, so when we're doing something and Ruby goes off and plays, he's like, you know, what am I going to do now? So that would be a great conversation to have.
Yeah, and give it a name. It's called codependency. If you can't function without somebody else, like if you need somebody else in order to know who you are or what you want to do or how you want to think or how you feel, if you need someone else to manage your thoughts or your feelings or to be there so that you can manage your thoughts or feelings, that's codependency. And that's not a healthy way of relating, because, and you can share examples with them around that and enmeshment trauma. So in our family, we're going to support this and do this. And, you know, what I would suggest is to, I don't know if you already do it, but bring in like individual connection time. So you know how like you might do family time? We do this. Let's say it's a Sunday afternoon and the family's hanging out and you guys have, I don't know, all just had lunch together or something. And you go, okay, you know what, guys, for the next hour, every single one of us, we have to be alone. Let's do this together. We have to be alone for 1 hour or for 20 minutes or whatever it might be. So no one in our family here is really allowed to even, talk to each other. Like if you need to ask each other for something quickly, of course, but I'm going to go have a bath. Dad's going to go over there and, you know, cut some wood or whatever it might be. You know, Tom might go play with the rabbits or something. And Ruby has to, like, for the next 20 minutes, all of us at the same time. So it's kind of still family time. Like it's coming in that bracket, but everyone must go and have 20 minutes by themselves. And then let's all come back and share what that experience was like having time by ourselves. If you do alone time at the same time, it'll just feel safer for Tom and he won't relate it to being the odd one out or being rejected.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you. Doing. So I feel like we just need to build him up in that will help him find connection to himself and, you know, all of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks, Holly. That's amazing.
No worries. Let me know how that goes. I'd be really interested to hear how the conversation goes.
Lots to ponder. Thank you.
Welcome. That's a good point. El Petrolo said something over there. That's good, El. Marla, you could also talk about honouring each other. Like if they are in the middle of something and Seren comes over, that they agree, that they say, yes, Seren, I'd love to come play. I'm just in the middle of a game with my brother, but as soon as I finish, I'll come out. So that there's notice for both of them that this game, not like this is cut off, but when this game finishes or whatever, I'm going to go out with her.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, El.
Yeah, it's great. All right. It's up to you, Miss L. Hello.
Hi.
How are you feeling? Oh, shit, I just wiped it away. How are you? How are you?
Okay.
Okay, so yes, that's right. Okay. Zach does this sometimes where he's like, I'll be like, oh, did your dad do this? And he'll be like, did we, Dad? I'm like, dude, you know the answer. I get it. I would say in that.
Daddy do it. No, Mama.
Do you want to help him? Are you right? You're right. You're right. All good?
Yeah.
I would, so you both kind of have to be on the same team here, and this can change really quickly. Oh, hello, Eden. This, I know you get your earphones on, but this can change really quickly just by neither of you allowing the other parent to answer, right? So let's say if I ask Zach something and he does exactly this, like where he goes and asks a question to the other, like to his dad that he can answer himself, right? Oh, have you eaten yet? Or Dad, have I eaten yet? Dude, did you eat or didn't you eat? Have you had lunch or haven't you, right? So then it would be, so I would say to Zach, like if it was me that had asked him something, I would say to Zach, hey, like Zach, I asked you, and repeat the question. I asked you, not Daddy. I asked you, not Daddy. Can you tell me the answer? And at the same time, Dave would say, mate, you know the answer to that. You tell Mummy. So just redirect them back, just to break that habit of them trying to involve like the other parents. But you both have to be, hi Larry. Nice to see you. You just have to be on the same team with it. So when he goes off to ask someone, that person can't meet the need, can't answer for him, or can't even give him the answer. The only answer that he gets is, you know the answer to that. Or you say, like if he comes and says, what did you say here? You said, yeah, that's right. How he has to go and ask his dad. Oh, yeah, like have you done your teeth, right? Or gone to the toilet, right? And then he goes to, let's say he goes to Larry to go, Daddy, did I do my teeth?
Mommy.
What you would do, Larry, is like you would say to him, did you do your teeth? Did you? And he'll go, yeah, I did my teeth, remember? Okay, well, tell Mummy that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's all. And just redirect it back to the person that was asking.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's also okay to pull him up and just go, hey, like if he goes away and asks Larry, for example, like this example you gave, you can even grab him, like, just, grab his hand or something and go, hey, Mummy wants to hear from you, not Daddy. I'm not asking Daddy. I'm asking you. Have you brushed your teeth? Did you brush your teeth? And if he goes, did you, Daddy? Then the only answer is, did we? Did you? Did you brush your teeth? I can't remember. Did you? And then just let him say, yeah, I did. Okay, well, then you tell Mummy. Yeah, but it's okay to grab him and not even let him walk to the other person to ask the question.
Okay, thank you.
He's got the most delicious chocolate
I've
eyes.
got the hiccups. He's got the hiccups, apparently.
Oh, is that what he said? Very cool.
Let's go change your nappy, Eden.
All right. So that is all. However, Amanda, I'll come back to you because I said we'd have time, and I feel like we do, and I feel like we've already half covered it anyway. Are you still there, darling? Hang on, let me unmute you. So for those of you who might be watching the replay, or this isn't in the questions for the group, but it's just an extra question. It's not in the post from today, but I'm still going to answer it anyway because it's an excellent, it's like my favorite question ever. Not that I like have favorites in all of you, but it is excellent. I love when parents get this conscious about themselves. So Amanda's question was around, she said, what do I do when I've got like a rage storm inside of me because the kids aren't listening? Not just like, what do I say to them? What can I do for myself to settle the storm? Is that it in a nutshell?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm half crying, laughing because it's just the best way to describe it because I'm trying to stay calm, but on the inside, I just want to like explode. So
Yeah.
So like how do I deal with that? And as I said, I try and just fool myself to stay calm, but they see straight through it. The kids see straight through it, and so they then just reflect that back onto me and either don't listen even further or are just little smart asses, and you just fucking want to fucking excuse my language. I'm sorry. I love them to death, and they're amazing, but at the same time, like. And the way I look at it too, and sorry if I'm, taking time away, but it's like I've never had kids before. So I am learning as I go. And so every new day, it's all about me learning how to deal with the situation for myself, not only for them. I'm trying to teach me. I'm trying to teach them to be good people. And so, and then you also got to clean the house and do the washing and do the work and be a good partner. And it's just like, sorry.
No, I love it. This is where you're supposed to come to get all this out. Okay. So it's easy for me to answer. I'm going to give you two levels. We already spoke earlier about like you couldn't be more textbook. Like for Happy to Hold, it's textbook for you. You are like there. So just don't even make the decision. Just work out how. Like just be done with it. Just be like, universe, I don't know how, but I'm going. Like my decision is I'm there. I don't know who's looking after the kids yet. I don't know how I'm paying for it. That comes second, but somehow that shit will happen because it's non-negotiable. I'm there. So at a level of resolve and conviction in your heart, you're like, no more of these cycles. We're not waiting another 18 months, right?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
every single person on the line here that have been to Happy to Whole will tell you this was exactly where they got to in their parenting, where it's okay, I've learned a few parenting tools and I've learned how to, but now it's getting deeper because I'm noticing my own triggers, my own shit, and I can see where I'm, and I can see where I'm incongruent. Okay.
Yeah.
And we spoke earlier on this call about how when you continue being incongruent, having this big storm go on inside you, but on the outside look like you're all calm, it teaches our kids, it turns them off their intuition. It teaches them over the course of their life to stop trusting what they feel, and then make, potentially scary decisions because they can't tap into their intuition when they're teenagers. Okay. Highly important, like literally could be a matter of life or death if they made the wrong decision because they couldn't tune in. Okay. Now, so what you can do for yourself, two things, is in the moment, call it out. Don't pretend. Okay. You don't have to act it out, but call it out. Meaning you don't have to go into a full fucking tantrum yourself and have like absolutely lose your shit and basically behave worse than the kids are, right? Because then they just see you as like a hypocrite and they're like, why should we listen to you? You're doing the same thing, right? And so what you can do though is you share it. So start being really transparent with your kids, but with it from a very clean centered space. And what I mean by that, don't use this as a way of controlling them and manipulating them.
Right.
I'm just sharing truth. I'm not doing this to intentionally hurt your feelings or guilt you into a response, but I'm sharing the truth. Meaning you'd say, guys, I am really struggling right now. And I feel like I could just cry. Right now, I feel like I don't even know how to be a good mum because on the inside of me, every part of my being is trying not to scream at you because I don't want to be the mum that's angry, but my heart is hurting right now. I'm not just angry, I'm hurting. It really hurts when I try my best and I feel like you guys aren't doing the same. So I'm just going to ask you nicely, please, can you feel me right now? Not can you listen? Please, can you feel me? Please, can you feel that I'm a person and even though I'm an adult, like I can only go so far too. And I feel like my heart is being broken and I need your help. I need all I'm asking is please, guys, can you please help me to feel like I'm a good mum so that I don't have to get angry? Please, can you get in the shower?
Yeah.
Like, it means a lot to me right now if you guys just get in the shower.
Because it's that fine line between, as you're just saying, that whole, because I feel like I'm getting better at saying I'm getting really frustrated right now and it's about your behavior. But then I kind of come away sometimes going, I don't want to shame them into doing things or,
you don't want to make it
like,
because of them.
Right. And so it's like just working out what to say. It's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm getting really frustrated by your behavior right now.
Yep.
I don't know what the next bit is to say. Get and do what you're meant
to. I'll tell you what the truth is. So first of all, don't use frustration and angry, okay? Because you're not actually angry and you're not actually frustrated. Anger, and you learn this at the retreat, we talk about cover emotions. And anger is a cover emotion for hurt and fear, okay?
Okay.
So you're not really feeling angry, you're feeling hurt or afraid, and you cover those very vulnerable emotions by being angry. Okay, anger is like a cover emotion, is like the ice on the lake. What you see is the anger, that's the ice. But what creates it, what's really going on here is what's below the surface that creates the ice.
Yeah. Yep.
So anger is the ice on the lake. So don't tell them you're angry and you're frustrated. Be more real and more vulnerable and come from your heart, not from your brain. Okay. Guys, like I feel like I could cry. Not I feel like I could scream. Because your screaming is what you use to stop yourself from crying. Okay? So it's what pulls you out of the vulnerability, right? And so use more heart-focused words. I'm hurt. I feel my soul feels afraid. In moments like this, and I'm not saying this is what you guys are trying to do, but what my heart feels, so you don't make it about their behavior even, you just make it about your own experience, right? And I know that this isn't what you guys mean to do. But in these moments, I get afraid that I'm not a good enough mum, that I don't know how. Like, I'm afraid that my children don't like me and don't respect me. Because, and I know you do love me. I know you do. I know in my mind that you do. But in moments like this, it's hard for me to feel that. I know you guys love me. Don't manipulate them and use it as a way to make them feel like they don't love you, right? That's what, this, I'm giving you something here that can be so powerful, but it can also be so damaging if you use it the wrong way. So you've got to respect this to, not use it in the wrong way, okay? Because you can cut them down. But that's, now, it's one thing to use that language of them. It's another thing for you to know it yourself, okay? So any fear, anytime you feel hurt, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling? Am I hurt or am I afraid? What's actually happening for you in these moments, and the reason it's hurting you so badly and you're using all this anger to pull yourself out of the wound that you're getting stuck in, you are feeling powerless. Because no matter what you try, you can't make them do what you want. And they're not listening. So what that does is it triggers a powerlessness wound in you. And somewhere in you, when you were a child and you were powerless to do anything or to speak up or to say something without getting in trouble or to do something or to suggest an idea, you got told to shut up and don't backchat and, how dare you speak or, whatever other powerless situations you might have been in your life. That is what your children are calling you forward. So the role of our children spiritually is to call us forwards into our higher, levels of vibration, our higher consciousness ourselves, levels of consciousness. All right. And so there, when you're in those moments, know it and name it to yourself. And you can even say, guys, I'm feeling so powerless right now.
Yeah, that feels way better to say that. I feel powerless. That's so much better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And you can even give it to them so that they can understand in a way they do understand. Like, you know what? I feel like the little girl, the little reception kid who's at school right now and everyone's making fun of her and nobody wants to listen to her and nobody cares how she feels. And I feel like I'm so alone and I've got no friends and no one that cares for me right now.
Yeah. Is that not manipulating them though? Like, is that not?
Not if you don't add, you guys are making me feel that. No, that's not it.
Okay.
This is how I'm feeling. Because all you're trying, because when you say I'm feeling so powerless, they won't relate to that. Still say it, right? Because it's real and it's good for you to speak it, or it's good for you to at least know it to yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
What's actually getting you so angry? It's not your children's behavior. It's not any of that. It's that behavior is making you feel powerless, and your reaction of rage is in response to your wound, not in response to their behavior.
No, that's right. Exactly. Because sometimes I feel like they're actually not misbehaving or they're not doing the wrong thing. It's just, I just want you to do what I'm asking you, but you're not doing it. So that whole powerlessness is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
You need to say what you just said there. You need to say, guys, do you know what? I'm sorry to say this. I know you guys are just having fun. I know you guys are just being kids and laughing. And you know what? You're actually not doing anything wrong now. But how much you're laughing and how loud you're being, there's nothing wrong with that. Finding it really hard to deal with that right now. I'm just having a moment that's really hard for me. And I'm just asking, can everybody please honor me? Would you guys please be open to just still having fun? So tell them you're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that even though you're having fun together, that I have to come along and stop that or make you guys be quiet. But also just see where it's possible for you to be able to manage your own situation without changing them. So for example, it might be like, let's say there's just too much noise, right? You're like, guys, while you guys are being this noisy, it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. But while you're being this noisy, I'm going to have to take myself to a different room. I'm just going to go to my bedroom. All right. I'm just going to be laying down. If you need me, I'll be there. Otherwise, I'll be out in a moment when I can handle the noise. Because right now, I just can't handle the noise. So I either need you guys to quieten down. You can still have fun, but do it a bit more quiet. Or I'm going to go to another room for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where possible, and there would be some scenarios where you can go outside and water the garden or go, do something, go hang the washing out or, go into your room and shut the door or go have a shower. Go turn
Yeah.
the water on, because
Yeah.
because what you do in those moments is you take back power, right?
Mm.
You're not waiting to control someone else's behavior so that you can feel better. What you're doing is like, do you know what? I don't want to squash my kids when they're being happy. Like, I know they're being loud and crazy, but they are also playing, having fun with each other and just being kids, right?
Yep. Yep.
When you can catch yourself like that, go, you know what? I don't want to even raise my children to think that in order for them to be happy, they have to control everyone in the world around them, because you fucking can't do that. You're not always going to be able to do that. So I want to lead by example, at least sometimes, and go, do you know what, guys? Instead of asking you to stop, I'm going to let you guys have fun because I can see you're having fun, but I'm struggling to handle the noise. But I love that you're having fun with each other. So instead of asking you guys to stop, I am just going to go and have a shower. Okay.
Yeah.
And let them hear your thought processes, because as you say this, you're planting seeds in their mind for their thought processes to become the same.
Yeah.
And they grow up not trying to make their brother stop and make their sister stop and make their friend stop. They go, you know what? If my brother won't stop, I'll just go to my room. I'll just shut up. I just won't play.
Right. Absolutely. And sometimes I feel that because I'm got that internal fury, I then chuck a tantrum and I do, as I say, leave. And then that's where I feel really bad, because I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm doing the right thing, but also the wrong thing. Like, I can't handle whatever it's going on, or you're not listening. So I'm going to leave, but I'm also going to, spit my dummy and storm out. And I was like, well, that's not what I want to show them either. So
your consciousness is so amazing. You've got a lot of awareness. You've got a lot of awareness, and it might help for you. I do this work sometimes with my private coaching clients, is that so that the files are readily accessible in your brain in a moment where you're dysregulated and you can't use your thinking brain because you're going into the amygdala, you're going to the reptilian brain, the fight or flight. We've talked about that before. I'm pretty sure you know all about that, right? Like all that. So you need to take responsibility to know that this is your pattern, and to give your brain some new files before you get to that moment. So for example, you can go after this call tonight while you're feeling a bit inspired on this topic or something, and go, cool. Like, okay, if I want to stop the kids' behavior, what are some different words? I'm going to write out some sentences, even just 3 or 4 words to start my sentences with, right? Might be, guys, you're not doing anything wrong. I love that you're having fun, but please, can you do it a bit more quiet? For example, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling them what to do, not what not to do. Then sponge that up more than what not to do anyway, okay? Because it's always easier to replace a behavior than it is to erase a behavior.
Understand.
So you have a few sentences like that. Guys, it's getting a bit loud in here for me. I'm going to go to the next room. So you have a list of what can you say to the kids? And then you have a list of what can I do to change my situation without changing the kids?
Yeah. Yep.
You need a list of those things. Go in my room, put earphones in, and play some music. Like, music will always change our feelings, right? Especially if it's music that relates to memories, like a playlist that reminds you of when you met your partner, or something that's emotive for you, or when you're a teenager. You have a playlist.
That's the first one that I thought of was something that when I first got with my partner. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Then if you go into your room and you're like, oh my God, I can still fucking hear them, I'm going to lose my shit, like throw someone through the window in a minute, kind of feeling. And you feel you're almost looking for a reason. Like, you're almost looking for a reason to like storm out there. Like, you're waiting for a bang or a crash or like, now I've got my reason that I've been looking for to vomit all over you all, right? When you know you're doing that, you are responsible for changing your environment. So you go get in the shower, basically. I helped Di a lot when she had PTSD from being a police officer and all of her group, and extreme anger and things like that, like extreme. And she was open about the abuse that she, did to her children. And the biggest savior for her was the bathroom. So she close her bedroom door and then go into the ensuite and close that door. So there's more walls and more sound that you can block. And if that's still not enough, get in the shower and then choose to be in the shower and not think about how pissed off you are. Choose to stand out of the water and literally let the water wash, like imagine it like washing feelings away. Just like stand there and surrender and and just admit to yourself, I feel so fucking powerless, and let yourself cry. Let yourself be the little girl that was powerless, that never got heard, that never got seen, whatever it might be that triggers you. And you might not remember something, you might not know exactly, but you can identify like you're feeling like nobody listens to me. So you can ask yourself, where else in my life have I felt like nobody listens to me? And it's going to be painful. That you probably this relationship, that relationship, this friendship, my mum, my dad, you're probably going to have a whole list. It's probably a pattern in your life. Kids are helping you find the wound. So
thanks, guys.
So that you know where to do the work.
Yeah.
Okay, that is their role. Okay.
Cool.
You definitely need to come to Happy Whole, because what we do at the Whole, especially with the astral body work that we do on the Saturday afternoon, it's like kind of the pinnacle of the whole weekend. And the 4 emotions that we specifically work on, and we literally change your nervous system around them. And that is anger, guilt, grief, and fear. They're the 4 main, they're like all the emotions that 99% of people are dealing with or don't know how to deal with, and your immune system just goes crazy and you can't control it. And so what will happen for you after the retreat is that there's no such thing as not like, oh, you won't feel that anymore. Like because it's all about wholeness, right? The whole motto of the retreat is wholeness is my superpower, right? And so it's not about learning how to create a situation where you no longer feel it. It's about learning how to feel it, how to meet yourself in that edge when you are feeling it. Instead of trying to get away from your own feeling. You can meet yourself in all of these big, deep emotions. I mean, it's instantly life-changing. It really is.
And because that's also what it's about. It's like, I can feel the feelings. Okay, well then how do we, instead of just going or exploding, it's like, right, how do I either process, as you say, like not necessarily manage it, but just kind of work out how to not make it so sharp every time you feel it, just to kind of soften it every time.
And then sharp is your resistance to it, okay? Because you hate the feeling, you don't like it, it's a scary feeling, it's probably connected to, it will be connected to some trauma in your childhood. And for as long as your nervous system has that pathway that this feeling means something bad's going to happen, I'm going to be in trouble, I'm going to be punished, I'm going to be smacked, I'm going to be disapproved of, I'm going to be judged, I'm going to be yelled at or whatever. For as long as your nervous system holds that attachment, it is able to feel safe. And for as long as it's not feeling safe, you need to get away from it. And your resistance to it actually magnifies the intensity of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But that having a couple of those words and the phrases for when I start those feelings, I think will really help. Really great. Thank you so much for answering your question that wasn't on tonight. Thank you.
That's a great question. I'm always up for those questions, even if we go over time. Shelley, I just saw your question there. This is a retreat I run once a year only. Cassie has come to it, actually. And it's ran in Adelaide, so down at Waruna Cove, down in Normanville. But we have people fly in from all over Australia to come to it. It's 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this year it's October. Elle, you probably know it better than me. Is it 25, 26, 27? You said it to me the other day, 26. Anyway, the last weekend of October, whatever that is. I know sometime recently I remember I was like, oh, you know my date better than me. Elle. I remember in some message you wrote me. So it's a retreat, and the whole reason I do it is for this. So people come to the parenting program mostly thinking there's problems with their kids. And then what you end up noticing is that 90% of the problems are because of us, because of the wounds that we carry, that our children trigger, that we don't know what to do. They trigger all of our childhood wounds, basically. And if we don't do the healing, that cycle repeats. We treat them the same way that our parents treated us, and then we create the same cycle and the same cycle and the same cycle. So Happy to Whole, I literally created it 7 years ago. We've been running the retreat, and it's all about, okay, so yes, you're doing all these things to help your kids and focus on your kids, but you're not really doing the real work, the long-term forever work, unless you're actually changing these wounds and healing these wounds in yourself and integrating all of the fragmented parts of your soul is what it's actually called, which is all your trauma. And so instead of trying to learn how to manage your triggers, if you tend to the wound and you address the wound until it no longer exists, then it can't be triggered, right? And then your children grow in a much more regulated and healthy environment, and they then learn those emotions from you. They then learn, even like how to process disappointment or anger or whatever it might be. So it's a 3-day weekend in person with me. It's $3,300. There's 6-month payment plans. We only take, we have like limited numbers, so we take around about 30 people. And it's, last weekend in October. So if you're here to really do some, and by the way, I don't know if this is relevant to you. I think it is. Is it you that, do you have NDIS, Shelley? Is it you that I'm thinking of? Okay, it must be someone. Cassie had another friend she was talking to, and she asked me, do you do NDIS? And they do. They approve our programs and retreats and things like that. So, and I thought that might have been you, but don't worry. Forget about it. Thank you, Al. You're the best. There you go. I'm going to finish off this call, so that link won't save. So if you want to copy and paste that before I cancel the call, otherwise you can go to theholyeffect.com and then click on retreats, and there's 3 different retreats we run. And this one's called Happy to Whole. So it's all about giving up the idea of trying to be happy and learning how to be whole. Because, when you can meet yourself in all of your emotions, when you can sit with your pain, your anger, your disappointment just as easily as you can sit with your happiness, your excitement, your joy, and your pleasure, then you become a very expanded, untouched human. It's like life, like you are just you, and life can barely touch you. But when you're trying to be happy all the time and you think happiness is the goal, you have to create your own trauma to yourself. You have to betray and violate yourself, because anytime a feeling shows up that's not happy, you abandon yourself. You abandon that part of yourself. And anything that you can't sit with inside yourself, you will never be able to hold space for it in your child. The feelings that will trigger you, that your child displays, are the feelings that you can't sit within yourself, that you have abandoned in yourself. And so that creates perpetual trauma. Does that make sense? So we teach you how to do all that in one amazing weekend. Most people come twice. Like I'd say 85 to 90% of people who have been once have been twice, or come twice, or like once they've been to last year's retreat, then look at coming to this year's retreat, because the second time round it's a different experience, because you come as a more conscious being in the first place. You're so much more aware of yourself. You've learned how to sit with yourself. So then when you come the second time, and you also know what's going to happen, whereas the first time the whole thing is basically a surprise. I don't tell you much about it. You don't know. You can go to the website and read, but it won't say what we do there, and that's on purpose. That's to get you in a place where you feel anxiety, you feel nervous, you don't know what to expect. Like, I want every fucking emotion triggered in you, that you come to that weekend going like, I am like ready to lose my shit. I'm scared to be here, almost, in a beautiful, safe, loving way, of course. But I want it all at your surface, so that you can't suppress and hold something down, so that while we're in this space, it can all come out, and you can go home a very different person. Yeah. So if you feel nervous about it, don't worry. Or if you go to the website and like, I still don't get what you do there, all you're going to get is what's on the website. All right? On purpose, okay? Trust me. It's a trust surrender process. You absolutely have to trust me, okay? So, yes, Miss Shara, if you want a new invoice, yes. And remember, because you've been once, you get it half price second time. So if you're saying you want an invoice to come to Happy to Whole again, just do me a favor, beautiful lady, and send an email to admin. It'll be to Dave. He checks that email address, and just say, awesome. Thank you, darling. Yeah. Just let us know what child's name, NDIS, whatever that you want to use. Put that in the one email, and Dave will get it off to you. Yep. and it'll be half price. Yeah. And just remind Dave, just put in that email, I'm coming for the second time. Holly said it's half price, just because he doesn't always remember every single person's names. He doesn't see you guys on the calls like this all the time. I know he spent the weekend with you, of course, but we have so many people come through the retreat. So just make sure you say it's my second time, it's half price. Yeah. He probably hasn't forgot you, but sometimes he's, you know, like, especially with the Christies, we've got like 3 Christies in the group. He's like, which fucking Christie's that? Like, which one's Christy Lee? I'm like, Christy Lee. What? Which one's fucking Christy Lee? I don't know what that means. I'm like, so we have these little you know, heated conversations. I'm like, babe, it's not Christy Stairs, it's Christy Lee. Fucking which one's Christy Lee? I don't fucking know. Like the blonde, have you seen that? So no, it's funny. Okay. So, all right, beautiful people. I will see you next week. Oh, no, I will not see you next week. There's no call next week, right? Thank you. Dave and I are in Cairns next week. So in the program, you get 45 calls a year. And one of the weeks that we're having off is next week. So we'll be in Cairns. So there's no call next week, but use the parenting group, particularly you, Shelley, because you're the most brand new person here at the moment. So as you go through the videos, if you have any questions or you need any more clarity, honestly, some of the women in this program like answer you as though it's my answer. Like they've been here 4 years, they're still here every week. And their answer is like they've heard me say things so many times that they literally sound like exactly. Sometimes I read the answers, I'm like, oh, you said it better than I even would have, right? So if you need some help, you'll get help in the group while we're away for a week. So I'll be back here in 2 weeks, yeah? All right, replay will go up tomorrow. If you need anything, use the group. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night.